Welcome to High Oracle's Reiki Spiritual Healing Channel. And I've been getting some questions, and I want to make sure that I acclimate myself to you so that you can understand what the processes are. There's different spiritual methods and spiritual healing rituals. The stronger the entity that is attached, the stronger the higher spirit that is attached. We have to use aggressive cleansing spiritual healing method, a spiritual healing ritual in some cases. And let's take for instance that usually when there is a problem with your finances, then a person has usually dispatched this type of negative entity, and it is a succubus. It is, it is not only for financial gain, it is also a trickster. It is an entity that will attack your health. It attaches to your mind, your health. That's what makes it a trickster, to make you believe that it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. It's there to help you. It's there to keep you satisfied, comfortable. You don't have to worry about having that person in your life because you have this entity in your dreams. So that's what makes it a very dangerous trickster. And again, usually a person has dispatched that entity to you, to siphon your relationships, because they don't want to see you with anyone else. They don't want to see you having the money and having fun and having the financial gain that they could not have with you. Okay, so this is how we discern that type of negative entity that is attached to you. When you are dealing with this entity, it is going to reveal itself as an entity 222. As I'm saying this, it's going to reveal itself in your life as a filthy demonic entity, where you will start having problems with your genitals, with boils, with different types of sexual transmitted diseases. You will start having problems with your skin, so that it can, make you rejected by anyone else. But the entity is trying to isolate you. It doesn't want you to be around other people or to have anyone in your life. Okay, so this is how we are discerning these types of entities. And I'm just giving you a rundown of what I have seen, what I know to be factual. Okay. So when you're having people, who do not want you to move forward in life, who want to control you, they will usually dispatch a spell, a spirit, a higher spirit, use a spell to hire a spirit, use a practitioner or a medium or altar in order to attach a spirit to the person that is the victim in this case, who they want to stay sick, so that they are never able to go to work, so they're never able to have financial gains. Okay, you can't even hold a job. So you have to make this type of entity out of a lie, and again, you have to have a spiritual connection in order to do that. You have to pray to God. You have to be able to fast in order to remove this type of entity. If you are not using, the spiritual methods and the spiritual rituals, then the entity, again, it becomes strong in your life. This entity that has been attached to your health and to your body is like I was saying, these entities cause famine. They cause desolation, isolation in certain people, in certain places. It's going to isolate you from your wife, because the entity is ultimately jealous of your wife. Your wife is able to see that there's something filthy attached to you. Your husband is able to see that you're married to a succubus, a succubi entity. And there's something in your behavior, in your character, that is, defiling the temple. So in many cases, in many cases, all of these entities defile the temple, will create sicknesses, kill, steal, and destroy again. Mental health problems, internal organs, cancer, rejection from your family members. It wants to isolate, the victim so that it can become a stronghold in that person's life. So we want to give you different means of cleansing this type of negative energy so that you recognize it when you're going through this, that the entity will not, allow you to work. It doesn't want you to have money. Every time you get money, you have to pay something. You have to be able to do something. Something goes wrong. Okay? So we're recognizing these strongholds in your life. And when you come in contact, if the entity is, allowing you to go to different practitioners, that's because that's not the practitioner that is going to get rid of it. They're in agreement. That entity and that practitioner is in agreement in the spiritual realm. Okay? So we're understanding that certain types of entities that are attached to you, that has been attached to your mind, your mental health, so that you're hearing voices. You want to commit suicide. You feel like you're going to be unalive, or you're trying to unalive yourself. These types of entities are the entities that we have talked about over the last couple of weeks. It is especially 717, as I'm saying that, it's especially prevalent in males, because males, need to be validated by other males. They want to be accepted by the work that they do, with their hands. They want you to, feel comfortable around them, whether they tell you this or not. They want you to be, accept the work that they are doing in your life, so that they are feeling like they're protectors and like you trust them. When you fail to, have that and meet that level, that mental capacity in the male, then the male is going to be feeling depressed. And this evil entity, Azazel, is easy to get into them. And it's easy, they are weaker in that area than women are. Okay? So this evil entity, Azazel, this evil entity, the succubus, is easy to get into the males once they've lowered their vibration and put that, doubt into them, that fear into them. That succubi for the females, they want to be, loved by their fathers, by the people in their house. Both the males and females can have this type of mental attachment of the succubus and the succubi. Okay? So this is what I'm saying to you, that, usually this is attached by generational curses. It's sent and hired by a person. And that's why it has to be cleansed. It has to be cleansed out of your life. And the first thing that I like to do, and, especially when I do this with men, the first thing that they realize is that, once I take the stronghold off of the male's mind, then it starts to, take stronghold around his throat. So we have to make sure that we continue cleansing. This is why you cannot stop cleansing. It is imperative that once you start removing the negative entity, and you can feel that, something has shifted in the realm of the spiritual world with this entity, you must continue to cleanse. Because, once it reattaches, it gets worse. It doesn't want to be removed. In the same way, again, it knows its host. It feels comfortable with its host. It is a parasitic demon. And we have to make sure that we're continuing to cleanse this out and, cleanse the person out of our lives. When we are cleansing these entities, we have to cleanse the person who has dispatched these entities, or the persons where they have come from in the generational curses. So this is why I have to make sure that you understand these methods and these spiritual rituals, so that this is a process. This is a process, and this is why I have to use life coaching sessions in order to make sure that you understand, that you're comfortable, you're not in fear, you're not obsessive, and we are, in prayer against this entity. We're going to another step. We're going to take it a little bit higher, baby. We're going to make sure that we're fasting and praying. And if I have to, be there with you to, teach you how to do this every step of the way, then that is my job. That is the purpose for the spiritual rituals, the method. This is what God has invested me with, and this is what I am transferring to you, this type of knowledge. And I hope that you receive this message. Please like, share, and subscribe to me over all of my platforms. You can book your one-on-one life coaching sessions or your consultations so that I can acclimate a gift to your situation if you have demonic attachments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Donate to me. I'm High Oracle, Reiki spiritual healer. Assalamu alaikum. See you guys.